Good morning, students. So, today I am going to discuss about sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Okay. So, first of all, here let us try to understand what is the terminology reproduction. So, reproduction is a biological process where one individual can produce its next generation. Okay, so what is the meaning of reproduction means? It is a biological process where one individual can produce its next generation. Okay, so basically reproduction is of two types. All of us know that: asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction, right? So here we are going to talk about sexual reproduction type. So what is exactly sexual reproduction type? So in case of sexual reproduction, gametes formation and fusion of gametes is very important. Okay, in case of sexual reproduction, gamete cells formation and fusion of gametes is very important. So in case of asexual reproduction, that is different story, right? But here we are going to talk about sexual reproduction. So in case of sexual reproduction, gametes are the cells required for the fusion, and fusion of gametes results in the formation of zygote. Okay, so this zygote later develops into a new individual. Okay, so now let us talk about the reproductive units in case of plants. So who are reproductive units in case of plants? So all of us know something called as pollination. From our earlier classes we learned something about this pollination, right? So pollination andre enu? Release of pollen grains from anthers to stigma. So transfer of pollen grains from anthers to stigma ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಾವು pollination ಅಂತ ಓದ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ, ಹೌದಾ? So this pollination process it to be carried out by whom? It will be carried out by flowers. Okay, so now let us talk something about flowers. So what are flowers exactly? How to understand these flowers exactly? So now very important point, what are flowers? My first question, what are flowers? So flowers are modified form of shoot. Flowers are modified form of shoot. So what is this mean? Modified form of shoot andre enu? So modified, changed. So yaar change aagta idare? Shoot. Shoot is nothing but, who is shoot? Stem. Okay, so some changes is being happened on the stem. Because of those changes, flowers are originated on the stem. So flowers ಎಲ್ಲಿರುತ್ತೆ ರೀ? ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಮೇಲೆ, ಸ್ಟೆಮ್ ಮೇಲೆನೆ ತಾನೆ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸ್ಟೆಮ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಬ್ರಾಂಚಸ್, ಆ ಬ್ರಾಂಚಸ್ಗೆ ಫ್ಲವರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಇರ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತವೆ, ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಥಿಂಗ್, ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ಒನ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಶೋ ಫ್ಲವರಿಂಗ್, what are the important things? Two things are important. One is a hormone and one structure. ಒಂದು ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಗೆ ಮೊದಲ ಸಾರಿ ಅದು ಫ್ಲವರಿಂಗ್ ತೋರಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ, ಆ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಫ್ಲವರಿಂಗ್ ತೋರಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಆ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಬೇಕಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ, it requires an hormone, it requires some basic structure. Okay, so now remember carefully, what is the name of hormone which initiates flowering for the first time in plants? That is phloriston. The name of hormone which initiates the flowering for the first time in plants is phloriston. Okay, now remember, in your first year you might have studied about auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins, etc., which plays a major role in flowering. Okay, so ethylene, if you remember ethylene, it plays a key role in flowering of cucumber. Okay, sir, cucumber alli ಸೌತೆಕಾಯಿ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಫ್ಲವರಿಂಗ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ತೋರಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಇಥೈಲಿನ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಬೇಕಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಓದ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ. ಬಟ್ ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಫ್ಲವರಿಂಗ್ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಗೆ, ಅದು ಫ್ಲವರಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಆ ಫ್ಲವರಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟಲ್ಲಿ ಫ್ಲವರಿಂಗ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಬರಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಫ್ಲವರಿಂಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋ ಹಾರ್ಮೋನ್ ಯಾವುದು? ಫ್ಲೋರಿಜನ್. Okay, so when florigen is synthesized in the plant body, then this florigen initiates process of flowering by developing a basic structure. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಈ ಫ್ಲೋರಿಜನ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಯಾವಾಗ ಸಿಂಥಸಿಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯೋ ಇನ್ಸೈಡ್ ದ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಬಾಡಿ, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟಿಂಗ್, ದಿಸ್ ಫ್ಲೋರಿಜನ್ ಈಸ್ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಎಪಿಕಲ್ meristams into floral meristams. ಸೊ ಈ ಮೆರಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇಯರ್ ಅನಾಟಮಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಓದ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್. Okay, these are basic cells which will be keep on dividing and they will be promoting new type of structures. So ಹೊಸ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಬಾಡಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಬರಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಈ ಮೆರಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ ಇಂದಾನೆ ಬರಬೇಕು. ಈ ಮೆರಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಇರುವಂಥ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಆದರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಹೊಸ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋವು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತವೆ, ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ that's why florigen, what it is doing, this florigen influencing apical meristams. So those apical meristams are converted here into floral meristams. These floral meristams will be giving rise to a basic structure for the origination of flower. That basic structure is called as floral primordium. Okay, the basic structure which gives rise to flower. So that basic structure here is called as floral primordium. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದೊಂಥರ ಪ್ಲಾಟ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಇದ್ದಂಗೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ನಾವು ಮನೆ ಕಟ್ಟಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್ ಹಾಕಬೇಕು. ವಿತೌಟ್ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ವಿ ಬಿಲ್ಡ್ ದ ವಾಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದ ರೂಫ್? ಇಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್? ನೋ. ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಆರಿಜಿನೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ಲವರ್, ಫಸ್ಟ್ a hormone is required. Okay, that is florigen. What it is doing? It is converting apical meristams into floral meristams. So when these floral meristams are arised, they are forming this basic structure, that is floral primordium. Is this clear? So on this platform, floral primordium, flower is going to originate. Okay, so ಈಗ ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ? ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸ್ಟೆಮ್ ಮೇಲೆ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ. Is this clear? Okay, now let us talk about types of flowers based on its sexual organs. Okay, so basically flowers understood as two types, as unisexual and bisexual. Unisexual flowers and bisexual flowers. So uni, what does that mean? Single. ಯಾವುದು ಸಿಂಗಲ್? ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದೇ ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಇಟ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಎ ಮೇಲ್ ಆರ್ ಫಿಮೇಲ್, ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಸೆಕ್ಷುವಲ್ ಆರ್ಗಾನ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಆದರೆ ಅವಾಗ ಅದನ್ನೇ ಯೂನಿಸೆಕ್ಷುವಲ್ ಅಂತೀವಿ. ಇಫ್ ಬೋತ್ ಟುಗೆದರ್, ಓಕೆ, ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಬೈ? ಟು. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ ಬೋತ್ ಮೇಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಫೀಮೇಲ್ together, both male and female sexual organs together present on the same flower, then such flowers are bisexual flowers, and these type of flowers are unisexual flowers. Now the most important terminology, remember, in case of unisexual flowers, okay, so all of us know male reproductive parts or units are androecium, right, and female reproductive units are gynoecium. Okay, so male reproductive units are androecium, female reproductive units are gynoecium, and androecium members are called as stamens. The members of androecium are called stamens, and members of gynoecium is called as pistils or carpels. The members of gynoecium is called as pistils or carpels. Members of androecium is called as stamens. Okay. In case of unisexual flowers, where only stamens are present, if only stamens are present means in unisexual flowers, such type of flowers can be called as staminate. Very important terminology. Staminate. What is the meaning of staminate? Where only stamens are present in a flower, such flowers can be called as staminate. Okay, I am repeating, where only stamens are present in a flower, such flowers are called as staminate. In the same manner, in case of unisexual flowers, if only pistils or carpels are present, okay, if only pistils or carpels are present, then we call such flowers as pistillate. Okay, if only pistils or carpels are present in a flower, such flowers are called as pistillate. So very important. You may get them for 1 mark or differentiation ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ 2 marks ಕೂಡ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು. Differentiate staminate and pistillate or define staminate, define pistillate ಅಂತ 1 mark ಕೂಡ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು. Okay, very important terminology. Then we told another type is bisexual flowers, where both male and female reproductive parts, that is androecium and gynoecium, together arranged on a flower. Okay, so now let us say about something called as thalamus. Okay, so seat of flower or receptacle of flower anta heltivi. Okay, seat of flower or receptacle of flower. So if you observe, let us say, so this is the thalamus. So on this thalamus, if there are only stamens like this, it is unisexual. Just now I told staminate. Okay, and if in case only gynoecium is there means, I mean only pistils are present like this means, that becomes pistillate. And on the thalamus, so this is the thalamus. So on the thalamus, if both pistils and stamens, if both pistils and stamens are present together, then this condition is called as bisexual condition. So with this we can conclude the basic types of flowers. Now let us talk about in detailed sexual reproduction process. How these flowers are able to perform sexual reproduction process. Okay, so sexual reproduction process is majorly divided into 3 parts. Okay, sexual reproduction total process ಅಷ್ಟು 3 parts ಆಗಿ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತೀವಿ. One is pre-fertilization, structures and events. Okay, pre-fertilization, structures and events, and the second one is fertilization, and the third one is post fertilization, structures and events. So this is the basic division or basic parts divided on sexual reproduction process. So sexual reproduction process is divided into 3 parts as pre-fertilization, structures and events, and fertilization, and the last one is post-fertilization, structures and events. So now let us study one by one. Okay, so we will be starting with pre-fertilization, structures and events. Okay, so here first of all, why we named them in that manner? So fertilization, fusion of gametes. Okay, what is the meaning of fertilization? Fusion of gametes. Which gametes? Male gamete and female gamete, which results in the formation of zygote. So that particular stage is called as fertilization. So before that, okay, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ, ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ವಾಟ್ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್? ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ದೇರ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ನೀಡ್ಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್, ಅಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಹೌ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಮೊಬಿಲೈಸ್ಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಪರ್ಪಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಅವು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾವೆ, ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಹೌ ದೇ ಮೂಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಹೌ ದೇ mood to reach each other, and later we can understand what is fusion. Okay, so that's why based on this process, okay, fusion of gametes results in formation of zygote. So before this, what happened here? Okay, that is what? Pre-fertilization. Pre ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಮುಂಚೆ. ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಮುಂಚೆ? ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಗೆ ಮುಂಚೆ. Okay, this is post. After. Post means what? After. After what? ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಜೈಗೋಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಏನೇನು ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಏನೇನೋ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ ನಡೆಯುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ, ನೌ ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ವಿತ್ ಪ್ರೀ-ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಈವೆಂಟ್ಸ್. So remember, this pre-fertilization structures and events again understood into two parts. One is gametes formation and another one is gametes transfer. Okay, pre-fertilization events are understood into two parts as gametes formation, and the second part is gametes transfer. Okay, so now let us talk about this part, gametes formation. So for the formation of gametes, so gametes now simple agi ಹೆಂಗ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು? What are gametes? So gametes are nothing but sex cells. Okay, and always their ploidy will be haploid condition, only one set of chromosomes will be there. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ನಾವು ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಏನಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು? ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. ದೇರ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡಿ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಸೆಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ರೋಮೋಸೋಮ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ನಾವು ಈ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ನ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಈವೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಹೌ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ಡ್. ಓಕೆ, ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಸಿ. ಸೊ ಟಾಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಮೇಲ್. Okay, in case of male gametes, how male gametes are originated, from which structures male gametes are going to be originated? So all of us know about androecium, right? So we told androecium as male reproductive unit. Androecium is what? Male reproductive unit. Okay, and what are the members of androecium? Stamens. Okay, so remember these short forms MRU, MRO, male reproductive unit. Unit ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ವಸ್ತು ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಓಕೆ, ಕಲೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ನಮಗೆ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬುಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂನಿಟ್ 1 ಅಂತ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ ಯೂನಿಟ್ 1 ಕೆಳಗೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ 1, 2, 3, 4 ಅಂತ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಹೌದಾ? ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ 1 ಇಂದ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ 4 ತನಕ ಕೂಡ ಅಂಡರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಟೇಮೆನ್ಸ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ವೇರಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಒಂದೇ ಸ್ಟೇಮೆನ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಒಂದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹಲವಾರು ಸ್ಟೇಮೆನ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಅಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಟೇಮೆನ್ಸ್ ನ ಸೇರ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಆ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ನ ನಾವು ಆಂಡ್ರೋಶಿಯಂ ಅಂತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ಲಿ. So MRU, okay, what is the MRU? Male reproductive unit. So under this unit, these are members. Okay, now these stamens, again these stamens are nothing but anthers. Okay, these stamens are nothing but anthers. Okay, and anther structure, speaking about anthers structure, okay, let us say, so structure of anther. So let us say this is a thalamus. On the thalamus, okay, So this is how an anther, a stamen looks like. Okay, so this is anther and this is called as filament. Okay, so in a stamen we can observe two parts like this. So one part is called as anther and a stalk like structure is called as filament, and this filament is attached to thalamus. Okay, so this type of stamens may be one or more than one or numerous can be present on thalamus. Okay, so now let us talk about the structure of anther. So structure of stamen alli ಏನರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು, ಎರಡು ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್, ಆಂಥರ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಫಿಲಮೆಂಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಆಂಥರ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಬೈಲೋಬ್ಡ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಆಂಥರ್ ಇಸ್ bilobed condition. Okay, so what is the meaning of bilobed? Bi andre enu two, lobes. What is the meaning of lobes? A big space, a big bag like structure or a big space. Okay, antavu eshtu idave? Eradu idave. Okay, so this anther is again connected with a stalk like structure. Okay, a stalk like structure. What is that stalk like structure? Filament, and this filament is connected to thalamus. Okay, so now we are going to talk about structure of anthers. Okay, so now if we take anther, so one anther, and let us make a transverse section. Okay, if we make a transverse section, then we can easily study the structure of anther. So what is the meaning of transverse section? Means if we take anther and if we cut it horizontally, okay, if we cut it horizontally, then it becomes transverse section. Okay, so that transverse section of an anther, okay, so like this. So generally I told it is bilobed condition. So this is one lobe and this is one lobe. Okay, so this is one lobe and this is one lobe, two lobes. Okay, and inside these lobes there will be something called as sporogenous tissues. Sporogenous tissues. So inside these lobes there will be, so each lobe consists how many sporogenous tissues? Two. Okay, so each lobe consists two sporogenous tissues. So total how many sporogenous tissues? Four. That's why bilobed tetrasporangiate. Bilobed tetrasporangiate. Tetra means what? Four. So four sporogenous tissues inside of two lobes. Okay, so bilobed tetrasporangiate. Now if we zoom this particular part of anther, okay, if we go for the microscope, electron microscope structure, this particular part, how it resembles like this. So now we are going to focus on this particular part. So ಒಂದು anther na ನಾವು zoom ಮಾಡಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಏನೇನು ಕಾಣಬಹುದು. Okay, like this. So let us say Okay, so in the structure, of anther wall, okay, in the structure of anther wall, so we can see the first outermost layer is called as epidermis. Okay, so listen carefully students, this is very very important. TS of anther. Okay, so many times it is asked for 5 marks. It is a important essay question. Okay, so the outermost layer is epidermis. Okay, it is a unicellular, it is constructed with only a single cell. Okay, if you observe this layer, it is very clear. Okay, then below the epidermis there will be 2 layers like this. So this 2 layers, the second region is called as endodermis. Okay, so below epidermis there will be endodermis, and after endodermis again there will be 2 to 3 layers present. So like this, so 2 to 3 layers which are arranged very closely. So these 2 to 3 layers below the endodermis, the third region called as middle layers, and this innermost region, the fourth region, is called as tapetum. Okay, the innermost region or innermost layer is called as tapetum. Okay, so outermost one is called as epidermis. So below the epidermis there will be endodermis. Okay, and 2 to 3 layers are called as middle layers, and the innermost layer is called as tapetum. Now try to understand, let us try to understand what are their functions. So epidermis, so what is epidermis? Epi means outer. Okay, so this layer is mainly meant for protection of anther. Okay, so ಈ epidermis ಅನ್ನೋದು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ? Protection. Okay, that is the main function. Then endodermis, so endodermis plays a major role, crucial role in the break opening of anther wall. Okay, endodermis plays a major role in break opening of anther wall. Okay, even this middle layers also same thing. Okay, they will be also playing a crucial role in break opening of anther wall. Okay, so anther wall ಯಾಕೆ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಓಪನ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಮೈಕ್ರೋಸ್ಪೋರ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪಾಲನ್ ಗ್ರೈನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋವು ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ಆಂಥರ್ ವಾಲ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಮಗೆ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಳಗೆ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿರೋ ಅಂತ ಪಾಲನ್ ಗ್ರೈನ್ಸ್ ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು, ಎಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು? ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಪಾಲನ್ ಗ್ರೈನ್ಸ್ ಹೊರಗೆ ಹೋದ್ರೇನೆ ಪಾಲಿನೇಷನ್ ಅನ್ನೋಂಥ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ ನಡೆಯೋದು. ಓಕೆ, ಪಾಲನ್ ಗ್ರೈನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋವು ಹೊರಗೆ ಬರಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ವಾಲ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋವು ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ನಾವು ದಿಸ್ fourth layer, tapetum, very very important. So the innermost layer of anther is called as tapetum, and this tapetum provides nutrition to the developing pollen grains. Very very important point. The tapetum region cells, innermost layer of anther, this tapetum will be providing nutrition to the developing pollen grains. Okay, so very very important for 5 marks. So you need to draw the diagram like this, and you need to write about all these 4 layers, and you need to explain the functions of all these layers. Epidermis for protection purpose, endodermis for break opening of anther wall, middle layers also again same thing for break open of anther walls, and tapetum, the innermost layer, it will be providing nutrition for the developing pollen grains. Okay, now inside the tapetum, okay, what are there? What are the structures which are going to give rise to pollen grains? So these structures inside the tapetum we call them as sporogenous tissue. Okay, the structures within the tapetum we call them as sporogenous tissue. Sporo means microspores or pollen grains. Genus origination, birth agodu. Okay, tissue, what is the meaning of tissue? Group of cells. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಂಥ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಅವು ಮೈಕ್ರೋಸ್ಪೋರ್ಸ್ ನ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪಾಲನ್ ಗ್ರೈನ್ಸ್ ನ ಆರಿಜಿನೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ ಇರೋಂತ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದಾವೆ ಸ್ಪೋರೋಜಿನಸ್ ಟಿಶ್ಯೂ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಟಿಶ್ಯೂ, ಓಕೆ, ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಟಿಶ್ಯೂ spores, microspores or pollen grains are going to be originated. That's why this particular area is called as sporogenous tissue. Is this clear? So now, just now I told tissue, group of cells. Okay, so some cells, some of the cell, one of the cell is going to give rise to what? Spores, microspores, pollen grain na ಆರಿಜಿನೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಟಿಶ್ಯೂ ಒಳಗೆ ಇರುವಂತ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ನ ನಾವು ಏನಂತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ PMC. ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. PMC. ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ PMC? ಪಾಲನ್ ಮದರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಈ ಟಿಶ್ಯೂ ಒಳಗೆ ಇರುವಂತ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ನ ನಾವು ಏನಂತ ಇದೀವಿ? PMC, ಪಾಲನ್ ಮದರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್. ಮದರ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನು? ಹೂ ಗಿವ್ಸ್ ರೈಸ್ ಟು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಜನರೇಷನ್. ಯಾರು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಜನರೇಷನ್ ನ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೋ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಮದರ್ ಅಂತೀವಿ, ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಸ್ ಟು ಮದರ್ ಫಾರ್ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ರೈಸ್ ಟು ಪಾಲನ್ ಗ್ರೈನ್. ಸೊ ಒಂದು ಹೊಸ ಪಾಲನ್ ಗ್ರೈನ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಹುಟ್ಟಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಮದರ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಈ ಟಿಶ್ಯೂ ಒಳಗೆ ಇರುವಂತ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ನ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ನ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಪಾಲನ್ ಮದರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಅಪ್ ಟು ಹಿಯರ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಆಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ 5 marks question. Okay, now let us talk how this PMC, pollen mother cell, is going to give rise to a pollen grain. Okay, so that process, the next process, how pollen grains are being developed from PMC is called as microsporogenesis. Okay, so the next topic is microsporogenesis. So just now I told microspores are pollen grains. Okay, so from where they are being generated? From pollen mother cell. Okay, so remember this pollen mother cell is a ಡಿಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡಿಕ್ ಸೆಲ್, ಪಾಲನ್ ಮದರ್ ಸೆಲ್. ಸೊ ಇದು ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬಂತು? ಸ್ಪೋರೋಜಿನಸ್ ಟಿಶ್ಯೂ ಇಂದ ಬಂತು. ಸೊ ಸ್ಪೋರೋಜಿನಸ್ ಟಿಶ್ಯೂ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ನ ಪಾಲನ್ ಮದರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ನೌ ದಿಸ್ PMC, ಪಾಲನ್ ಮದರ್ ಸೆಲ್, ಇಸ್ ಅ ಡಿಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡಿಕ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದಿಸ್ goes to meiosis. Okay, so this PMC goes to meiosis. So in our first year we learned when a diploidic condition meiocyte undergoes meiosis, there will be result of 4 daughter cells, right? ಸೊ 4 ಡಾಟರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಒಂದು ಪೇರೆಂಟಲ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಯಾವಾಗ ಮಿಯಾಸಿಸ್ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅವಾಗ 4 ಡಾಟರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ 4 ಡಾಟರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಆರ್ ಅರೈಸ್ಡ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಿಸ್ PMC ನೌ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಮೈಕ್ರೋಸ್ಪೋರ್ಸ್ ಟೆಟ್ರಾಡ್. ಮೈಕ್ರೋಸ್ಪೋರ್ಸ್ ಟೆಟ್ರಾಡ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ, now from this microspores tetrad, so tetrad andre enu 4, so from this microspore tetrad they will be separated from each other, andre ee tara irutte. So one, this is, let us say this is PMC. So when it undergoes meiosis like this, it forms like this. So this is what microspore tetrad. So ಈಗ ಈ microspore tetrad, they will be separating from each other and differentiated into, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ತರ ಒಂದೊಂದು separate ಆಗಿ differentiate ಆಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. So now these differentiated structures are nothing but pollen grains. Okay, so production of pollen grains or microspores is nothing but microsporogenesis. So PMC ಅನ್ನೋದು ಮಿಯಾಸಿಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮೈಕ್ರೋಸ್ಪೋರ್ ಟೆಟ್ರಾಡ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಟೆಟ್ರಾಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರತಿ ಒಂದು ಮತ್ತೆ ಆ ಟೆಟ್ರಾಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತ 4 ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಒಂದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಸಪರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಶಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಪಾಲೆನ್ ಗ್ರೈನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತವೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ನೌ we want to learn about the structure of pollen grain, how a pollen grain looks like. Okay, and what are all the layers and components present inside the pollen grain. Okay, so even microsporogenesis also very important. They may ask you for 2 marks or 3 marks, what is the microsporogenesis. Okay, so now let us talk about structure of pollen grain. Okay, so very important point, first point, remember pollen grain generally called as or considered as, pollen grain is considered as male gametophyte. Okay, pollen grain is considered as what? Male gametophyte, because this pollen grain structure or body, okay, pollen grain ಅನ್ನುವಂತ ಈ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಇಲ್ಲಾಂದ್ರೆ pollen grain ಅನ್ನುವಂತ ಈ ಬಾಡಿ ಏನನ್ನ ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? ಮೇಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ನ ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ನೌ ಲೆಟ್ us try to understand the structure of pollen grain. Okay, so each pollen grain, okay, if we observe each pollen grain, there will be 2 layers of walls on it. There will be 2 layers of walls. So the outer wall here, the outer wall here is called as exine, and it is a non-continuous one. Okay, continuous agiralla. Okay, exine is the outer wall and it is non-continuous or discontinuous. Okay, then a star point to remember, this exine is made up of a highly non-degradable substance, namely sporopollenin. Very, very important. So this exine wall is made up of a non-degradable substance, namely ಸ್ಪೋರೋಪೊಲೆನಿನ್. ನೀವು ಏನೇ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಈ ಎಕ್ಸೈನ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ಅಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ಆಗಿ ಬಿಲ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಈ ಎಕ್ಸೈನ್ ವಾಲ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು. ವೈ? ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಪ್ರೆಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಸ್ಪೋರೋಪೊಲೆನಿನ್. ಓಕೆ, ದೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಮೇನ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್, ಎಕ್ಸೈನ್ ಮೇನ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟ್ ದ ಇನ್ನರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್. ನೌ the inner part here, the inner wall is called as intine. Inner wall is called what? Intine, and this is continuous. This is a continuous, and this intine will be giving rise to pollen tube. Okay, this intine will be giving rise to pollen tube. Okay, on exine if you observe, there are some gaps like this, okay? There are some gaps. So these gaps on axon called as pores, okay? So from these pores, generally the intine layer extends and gives rise to pollen tube, okay? The intine region from these pores extends and gives rise to pollen tube like this. See, so let us say here there is a pore. So from this pore, this intine region is protruding out like this, okay? So this protrusion here is nothing but pollen tube, okay? So now outer layer aito, inner layer aito. Now let us see what are all the things present here within the intine region. So intine region ಒಳಗೆ ಇನ್ನೇನು ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನೋಡೋಣ, okay? So generally there will be two different types of cells inside the pollen grain, okay? There will be two cells. So like this. So one cell is called as vegetative cell, okay? One cell is called as vegetative cell and another one is called as generative cell. So one cell is called as vegetative cell, another cell is called as generative cell. So this vegetative cell, function of vegetative cell is providing nutrition to this generative cell. Vegetative cell function ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ, it provides nutrition to this generative cell. Now what is the function of this generative cell? So this generative cell goes to mitosis division, okay? Generative cell goes to mitosis division and produces two male gametes. Very very important point to remind, okay? So ಎರಡು cells ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. Within the intine region there are two cells, one is vegetative cell and another one is generative cell. So vegetative cell is going to provide nutrition for generative cell. With that nutrition, generative cell goes to mitosis and produces two male gametes. So now let us say this is giving rise to two male gametes like this, and because of this reason only in first stage itself we told pollen grain is considered as male gametophyte. Bantalla male gametes, two male gametes bantu, okay? So ಈ ತರ ಮೇಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಳಗೆ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಈ ಪಾಲೆನ್ ಗ್ರೈನ್ ನಾವು ಮೇಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟೋಫೈಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, okay? So likewise remember each pollen grain is constructed with this exine, intine, and inside they will be having vegetative cell and generative cell. And vegetative cell is a large cubular spindle shaped one, okay? Large cubular spindle shaped one. And generative cell is a small sized cell, okay? This is large one and this is small one, and this provides nutrition and this divides and gives rise to male gametes. Now another most important point to remember, so in 60% of angiosperms, okay, in 60% of angiosperms we will be observing two-celled stage pollen grains. In 60% of angiosperms we will be observing two-celled stage pollen grains. So what is two-celled stage means? This vegetative cell and generative cell, and remaining ones, in the remaining percentage we will be observing three-celled stage pollen grains, okay? So 60% of angiosperms flowering plants ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ two-celled stage pollen grain ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತೆ, ಇನ್ನು ಉಳಿದಿರೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ 40% ಅಲ್ಲಿ three-celled stage pollen grain ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತೆ. So what is the meaning of three-celled stage? So three-celled stage very very important. So three-celled stage ಅಂದ್ರೆ one vegetative cell, two male gametes. One vegetative cell and two male gametes. 3 cells ಆಯ್ತಲ್ಲ. So this is what 3-celled stage, which is observed in 40% of flowering plants. But majorly we will be observing 2-celled stage in case of angiosperms. Okay. So this is what structure of pollen grains, and these pollen grains nowadays are being used in preparation of some syrups, okay, because of their highly nutritional values. So ಈ ಸ್ಪೋರೋಪೊಲಿನ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅಷ್ಟು ಬೇಗ ಈ ಪಾಲೆನ್ ಗ್ರೈನ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಡೆಸ್ಟ್ರೈನ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಪಾಲೆನ್ ಗ್ರೈನ್ಸ್ನ ನಾವು ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಫ್ಯೂಚರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಯೂಸೇಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಪಾಲೆನ್ ಗ್ರೈನ್ಸ್ನ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಪ್ಲೇಸಸ್ನ ನಾವು ಪಾಲೆನ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಆ ಪಾಲೆನ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಪಾಲೆನ್ ಗ್ರೈನ್ಸ್ನ ಪ್ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಪ್ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಅಂತ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ನ ನಾವು we call it as cryopreservation. Very very important, cryopreservation. Okay, pollen banks alli ಒಂದು process ಇರುತ್ತೆ to preserve the pollen grains. So that process is called as cryopreservation. So here we will be using liquid nitrogen, a chemical namely liquid nitrogen, and the temperature is minus 196 degrees Celsius. Okay, the temperature maintained here is minus 196 degrees Celsius. Very very important. So 2018 NEET ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ರಯೋಪ್ರಿಸರ್ವೇಷನ್ ಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್ ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು. ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ರೇಂಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್ is asked in 2018 NEET question. Okay, so remember pollen banks ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ pollen grains ನ ಪ್ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, and the process we follow for it is cryopreservation, and we use liquid nitrogen for it, and we will be maintaining at the temperature minus 196 degree Celsius. Okay, then apart from that, I told pollen grains are used in preparation of some tablets and syrups. Okay, and even nowadays these race horses which are participating in race course, they will be feeding with this pollen grains, and even for athletes they will be consuming those athletes means what, running race, okay, long jump, high jump intavella ಮಾಡುವಂತ athletes ಕೂಡ for obtaining more nutrition they will be consuming this pollen tablets and pollen syrups for the better performance. Okay, so these are some commercial uses of pollen grains. Okay, so that is what about total male reproductive parts. Okay, so male reproductive parts ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೇಮೆನ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಸ್ಟೇಮೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಂಥರ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಆಂಥರ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ಸ್ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಆಂಥರ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ಸ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ವಿ ಕೇಮ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಸ್ಪೋರೋಜಿನಸ್ ಟಿಶ್ಯೂ ಅಂಡ್ ಸ್ಪೋರೋಜಿನಸ್ ಟಿಶ್ಯೂ ಇನ್ ದ PMC ಅಂಡ್ ಮೈಕ್ರೋಸ್ಪೋರೋಜೆನ್ಸಿಸ್. ಸೊ ಮೈಕ್ರೋಸ್ಪೋರೋಜೆನ್ಸಿಸ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ pollen grains, and next we talked about structure of pollen grain. Okay, so even structure of pollen grain is also very very important 5-mark question. They may ask you for 5 marks, structure of pollen grain. Okay, so with this we completed total about male reproductive part. Okay, in the next session we will be continuing with female reproductive part. Thank you. Okay students, now we are going to continue with the female reproductive part. Okay, so in case of female reproductive part, now we are going to discuss about pistils or carpel. Okay, so each pistil or carpel. Okay, so each pistil or carpel, okay, let us see, there will be 3 parts. In each pistil or carpel there will be 3 parts. So the topmost part is called as stigma, so generally which receives the pollen grains, and below the stigma a tubular structure called as style, and a basal swollen part. Okay, basal swollen part called as ovary. So these are the 3 parts under each pistil. Okay, so topmost part is stigma which receives pollen grains, and style is a tubular connection between stigma and ovary, and ovary is a basal swollen part. Okay, so this pistil or carpel is generally arranged on thalamus. Okay, the seat of flower thalamus. Okay, now inside the ovary, if we observe inside the ovary, there is a structure, a soft cushion like structure, inside the ovary. We call this as placenta, a cushion like structure within the ovary called as placenta, and on the placenta we will be observing some hanging like structures like this. Okay, some hanging structures on placenta. So these hanging structures are nothing but ovule. Okay, so ovule is called as megasporangium. Okay, the another name of ovule is megasporangium. Okay, so pistil alli ಮೂರು ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಸ್ಟಿಗ್ಮಾ, ಸ್ಟೈಲ್, ovary, and ovary ಒಳಗೆ placenta. On placenta we will be finding ovule. So ovule can also be called as megasporangium. Okay, now arrangement of pistils or carpels will be of two types. Okay, so one is called as syncarpous arrangement and another one is apocarpous arrangement. Syncarpous arrangement and apocarpous arrangement. So syn, so what is the meaning of syn? Means combined or fused anta artha. So generally if pistils and carpels annodu, there may be only one pistil or more than one. Numerous pistils or carpels may present, so there may be only one or more than one. So an arrangement of those number of carpels will be again two types like this. ಒಂದು syncarpous condition, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು apocarpous condition. So syn ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಕಾರ್ಪಲ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಕೂಡ ಫ್ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. So that condition, that type of condition is called as syncarpous condition. So syn andre fused. So whatever may be the number of carpels present on that thalamus, so all the carpels are fused together. So such condition is called as syncarpous condition. So syncarpous condition is very well observed. That means example, syncarpous is papaver. So in case of papaver we can see syncarpous arrangement. And coming to apocarpous, so here carpels are free, there is no fusion. Okay, so whatever may be the number of carpels here, so all the carpels are free, they are not fused with each other, and this condition is observed in case of Michelia. Okay, so syncarpous condition and apocarpous condition. So this is observed in papaver and this is observed in Michelia. Now moving to the next structure, ovule or megasporangium. So next one is structure of megasporangium. So very important, structure of megasporangium or ovule. Okay, so we told this megasporangium or ovule will be hanging to the placenta, right? So let us say here somewhere this is placenta, and from placenta it is hanging like this. Okay, and this particular part, okay, this particular part which is connected to the placenta and which is connecting the ovule body to the placenta is called as funicle. Okay, funicle, the stalk like structure. Funicle, that means stalk like structure which attaches the ovule body to the placenta. Okay, so now let us try to understand and what are all the parts under megasporangium. So ಒಂದು megasporangium ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನು ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Okay, so So observe carefully. So this is what? Funicle, the stalk-like structure which holds the ovule body with placenta. So just below the funicle there will be a place, a junction-like structure in between funicle and ovule body. Okay, junction-like structure in between funicle and ovule's body. So this we call it as hilum. Okay, so this we will call it as hilum. So what is hilum? It is a junction-like space in between funicle and ovule's body. So coming to the other parts, so this part, the basal part of ovule, okay, the basal part of ovule, the basal covering of ovule is called as chalaza. Okay, the basal part or basal covering of ovule is called as chalaza, and opposite to chalaza there will be a minute pore-like structure, a small opening. Okay, opposite to chalaza there will be a minute pore-like structure, a small opening. So this part is called as micropyle. Okay, the small opening opposite to chalaza is called as micropyle. Now coming to the coverings. So these coverings generally we call them as integuments. Okay, so these are coverings or sheath-like structures which protects the ovule and parts of ovule. So these coverings are called as integuments, and which one is the outer side? Okay, so outer to the ovule body, that one is called as outer integument, and which one is located inside, so that one is called as inner integument. So integuments are nothing but coverings or sheets which protect the ovule body, and again based on their location. So outside ಹೊರಗೆ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ outer integument ಅಂತೀವಿ, ಒಳಗಿದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ inner integument ಅಂತೀವಿ. So this one exactly outer and this one exactly inner integument. Okay, so now after integuments, here this region, observe this region within the integuments, we call this as, it is filled up with several cells, and these cells are highly nutritive cells. Okay, these cells are highly nutritive cells, and the mass of cells, nutritive cells, here called as nucellus. Okay, so within the integuments we observe some mass of cells which are highly nutritive, and those mass of cells we call them as nucellus. And here we observe a body like thing, and this is nothing but embryo sac. Okay, so in the middle of a ovule there will be one in number, that is embryo sac. Okay, so funicle is a stalk-like structure, hilum is a junction between funicle and ovule's body, and basal part of ovule is called as chalaza. Opposite to chalaza, a small opening, a pore-like structure called as micropyle, and coverings are called as integuments. As outer and inner they are divided, and within the integuments a mass of cells called as nucellus, and the middle one is called as embryo sac. Okay, so now after this we will be talking about the structure of embryo sac. So even this megasporangium or ovule structure is also very, very important. You need to describe all these parts, and you need to label the you need to draw the diagram, and you need to label the parts. Okay, so this is also an important 5 marks question from this chapter. Okay, so next moving on to the structure of embryo sac. So embryo sac structure ಹೇಳಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ we need to discuss about a process called as megasporogenesis. So if you try to recall, there we discussed microsporogenesis, which is talking about the formation of pollen grains. Okay, in the same manner here we are going to talk about megasporogenesis, which talks about the formation of this embryo sac. So how an embryo sac is formed. Okay, so let us continue with this next topic, megasporogenesis. So this is also frequently asked with for 2 marks question. So megasporogenesis, formation of megaspore mother cell giving rise to embryo sac. Okay, so formation of embryo sac from megaspore mother cell. Okay, this is what simply we can understand as megasporogenesis. Okay, so now let us see in detail how a megaspore mother cell originates, from where megaspore mother cell originates, and how megaspore mother cell can give rise to embryo sac. Okay. So remember the chain like this. So nucellus anta just eagle helidivi. Okay, so mass of cells present within the integuments. Okay, from this nucellus any one of the cell, okay, from this nucellus any one of the cell will be maturing into megaspore mother cell, and this megaspore mother cell on meiosis, okay, this megaspore mother cell on meiosis produces megaspore tetrad. Okay, so from nucellus any one of the cell becomes MMC. What is the meaning of MMC? Megaspore mother cell. There we told PMC, pollen mother cell. So in the same manner here we are telling MMC, megaspore mother cell, and this megaspore mother cell when it goes for meiosis it is going to produce megaspore tetrad. There microspore tetrad, here megaspore tetrad. There pollen mother cell, here megaspore mother cell. Okay, now remember let us say this is a micropyle end and this is a chalaza end. Okay, just now we mentioned what is micropyle and what is chalaza in case of megasporangium, right? So from this micropyle end, let us say this is how. So from nucellus one cell becomes megaspore mother cell, and this megaspore mother cell when it goes for meiosis what happens? So initially 2 cells are formed. Okay, let us say this is meiosis 1. Okay, so meiosis ಅನ್ನೋದು 2 parts ಅಲ್ಲ, meiosis 1 meiosis 2 ಅಂತ first year ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಓದ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ, right? So after meiosis 1 what happened? 2 cells are originated, and when this proceeds what happens? Four cells. Okay, so after meiosis 2 1 MMC given rise to 4 daughter cells. Same thing. Okay, there also pollen mother cell after completion of meiosis it given rise to 4 cells. We call it as tetrad, microspore tetrad. Here we are calling it as megaspore tetrad. Okay, so now after the formation of megaspore tetrad, here an important point to remember. After the formation of megaspore tetrad, here an important point, that is 1, 2, 3. Among the tetrad, okay, among the tetrad, 3 will be disintegrate or disappear, and only 1 cell becomes embryo sac. Okay, so this 1 cell of tetrad matures into embryo sac and other 3 will be disappearing. So that is the major point to remember, very important point to remember. So from tetrad 3 will be disintegrate and only 1 develops into a embryo sac. And this process, the development of embryo sac from one spore, here it is called as, this process is called as monosporic development. Monosporic development, very important. Mono andre ಏನು single. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಸೆಲ್, ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಪೋರ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ, ಸೊ 3 ಡಿಸಪಿಯರ್ ಆಗಿ ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಪೋರ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಫರ್ದರ್ ಮೆಚೂರ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಈ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ನ ನಾವು ಮೋನೋಸ್ಪೋರಿಕ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ, ನೌ when this monosporic development takes place, so one particular spore is going to mature into embryo sac. Now let us see what are the steps how this single spore is going to produce embryo sac. Okay, so now let us say this is a single cell and it divided. Okay, mitosis is happened. So this condition we call it as 2 nucleate. See, observe this cell. So this cell divided, 2 nuclei is appeared, and when this cell again divides, so this is mitosis, not meiosis. Okay, so now each nuclei needs to give 2 nuclei. That means here 2 and here 2. So this nuclei 2, this nuclei 2. So this stage is called as 4 nucleated. Okay, so now again if it goes for second mitotic division, this is first mitotic division and this is second mitotic division. So after this, what happens? So now 2 are there, that means here 4 and here 4, and this particular stage is now 8 nucleate. Okay, so from one single spore what is happening? So tetrad form ಆಯಿತು, ಟೆಟ್ರಾಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 3 ಡಿಸಪಿಯರ್ ಆಯಿತು, ಒಂದು ಮಾತ್ರ ಎಂಬ್ರಿಯೋ ಸ್ಯಾಕ್ಗೆ ಫಾರ್ವರ್ಡ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಸೊ ಆ ಒಂದು ಮತ್ತೆ ಏನಾಯಿತು, ಮೈಟಾಸಿಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯಸ್ನ 2 nucleate ಸ್ಟೇಜ್ಗೆ ತಂದಿದ್ದು. So 2 nucleate again on mitosis became 4 nucleate, and 4 nucleate again on mitosis became 8 nucleate. So remember clearly 1 mmC, okay, 1 mmC to produce 1 embryo sac. Okay, 1 mmC to produce 1 embryo sac, 1 meiosis and 3 mitosis are required. Okay, 1 meiosis and 3 mitosis. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ mitosis ಆಗಬೇಕಲ್ಲ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಆಗಿ. ವಿತೌಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಮೈಟಾಸಿಸ್ ಆ ಮೋನೋಸ್ಪೋರ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಈ 2 ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯೈನ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ 1 meiosis and 3 mitosis are required to form an embryo sac. Now this 8 nucleated stage, this 8 nucleated stage will be maturing into embryo sac. Okay, so ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಕೂಡ ಓನ್ಲಿ ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಡಿವೈಸನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಬಟ್ ನಾವು ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ರೀಚಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್ ಸ್ಟೇಜ್, 8 nucleate ಸ್ಟೇಜ್ ರೀಚ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಅರೌಂಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್, ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೆಲ್ ವಾಲ್ಸ್ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್. Formation of cell walls takes place, and this 8 nucleated stage finally giving rise to a matured angiospermic embryo sac. Okay, so this 8 nucleated stage, what it is going to give rise? It is going to give rise to a matured angiospermic embryo sac. Okay, so now let us try to study the structure of matured angiospermic embryo sac. That means after formation of cell walls around these nuclei, how it looks like. ಒಂದು ಮೆಚ್ಯೂರ್ಡ್ ಎಂಬ್ರಿಯೋ ಸ್ಯಾಕ್ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ನಮಗೆ ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಈಗ embryo sac, matured angiospermic embryo sac. This is also again very important diagram.